Hi everybody, and welcome to our lecture on critical task number 3, the interview project. I'm going to give you in the next 7 to 8 minutes a review of what I planned and what actually happened. I'm going to give you the things I think are pertinent to this presentation for doing an interview in this way. So let's get started. First, I want to look at the project drivers. I know you can't see anything back there, but you have it all. You should be looking at this as we're going through it, reading through. That is what I expect of you, and if you're doing that, we'll be just fine. However, I'll move so that you can see some of the stuff that I did here. So the project drivers. We're looking at the real-world interview experience in this project. How well prepared are you? What does it look like in play? And then you have to self-evaluate yourself. These are the things that I believe you'll get out of this, what I'm trying to do to get you further ahead in this interview project. So the plan, here's the plan. We're going to identify someone to interview, set up an interview, develop a series of questions, determine whether that's in person or on the phone. We're going to review that data once we do that. Develop follow-up questions. Complete follow-up and interview. Review the data. Write the paper. And in this circumstance, because we're using this and I'm having difficulties with this, but we're doing this, I'm going to have to do this PowerPoint and this video in order to earn the credit because I'm not in town to be there with you guys. So I had to do this. I'm going to Pennsylvania. So here's how I began. I started with some phone calls and some emails to potential people to interview. While I was doing that and waiting for some responses, I got with Dr. LaFrance and started developing questions that I might be able to use in my dissertation. And certainly for this project. While I was doing that, I was successful with that, thanks to Dr. LaFrance. However, I wasn't successful in getting somebody to interview right off the bat. So I had to go back and re-email and hopefully get somebody. And through that second set of emails, I was successful in finding somebody to interview. So then we had to deal with the other plans. The interview was set up and questions were ready, and then in the middle of the night on a Saturday I woke up and I did not feel very good at all. So basically I ended up going to the emergency room, and when I got to the emergency room, it was pretty clear that I wasn't going to be able to do the interview as I'd planned. So for the next 3 days, I was laid up here at the house, not able to go out or do anything that I kind of planned on doing the whole time, and it just didn't work out. So this wasn't something I was going to be able to do. So I had to come up with a plan B. In plan B, I contacted my interviewee, made some arrangements to do something else. After kind of going back and forth with her for a little while, basically what we came up with was we would do a survey style interview where I would send her my questions, my questionnaire, the way I have it formatted, and I would send that to her, and she would then answer those questions and send them back to me. So that worked out pretty well. She got those back to me. I started reviewing that data, and what I kind of realized was my planning wasn't as working out as well as what I thought. So I realized that the plan for the perfect scenario, and that wasn't happening. So what do I do now? I had to come about some other way to do this, and what I came up with was basically kind of working with what I had at the moment, which was the questions and a computer and a phone that I could try to get in touch with her and work it out that way. So I was well planned, but I didn't know that things were going to go bad and that I was going to end up sick for the first time in a long time. So here's what I got with some positives and negatives out of this whole process. First, that I found out that the surveys, this was an extremely fast way of getting some data right now, getting it in my hands so that I can do something with it. So I got that data. It was pretty detailed. I was able to print it right away. There was no waiting. I didn't have to send it off anywhere. There was nothing like that to do. So it was basically done right now for me to start working with. I was able to work with it right now. I got it back within a short period of time, and I was able to work with it, and things worked out pretty well. What I did realize with it was not something that I was going to be able to quickly follow up, change the direction of a question, do something that, if she was answering the question in one way and I wasn't looking for that wasn't what I expected of an answer, I would be able to go back and redirect her or get something else out of it, what I was really looking to get out of it. And I wasn't able to do that without being there in front of her or having her on the phone or something along those lines. So even though it was much quicker, the information wasn't as detailed as I thought it could be if I was sitting in a room with her or on the phone doing the interview. So looking at the interview process, it's more like a conversation. So I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to interview her, so I sat down with my principal, who was a coordinator, and I talked to him through the questionnaire, and I interviewed him, and it became more of like a conversation. He's new to our school. I know him only a little bit better than I know this other lady, so it wasn't like it was a real big change in the way I was trying to do what I was trying to do. So I indirectly, made sure I got the interview the way I needed it to be, and hopefully I'll be able to interview her tomorrow. But I wanted to make sure I got this done prior to leaving for Pennsylvania. So, again, the conversation, it was targeted. I had a topic. I knew what I wanted. I was trying to get the questions from her or from him, and going back and forth, and basically being able to get very detailed information out of him. And what I got was something that was what I think maybe much more valuable, but it was a lot more work to get to it. If I had to go somewhere and meet with him, it would have taken me much more time and arranging things and getting him some time free to answer questions, and me having time to get there, or being on the phone and getting something like no notes to work and waiting for the results. That was a lot of time. So I started to see that wasn't maybe as effective or quick as getting things in a survey style, maybe up here. There's both positives and negatives with both of these. So here's the big idea. This is a big idea. This is the important stuff. This is what we will ask you ridiculous true-false questions on that you probably won't be able to get right either way, but that's just life. That's the way it is. Don't cry like Dr. LaFrance. It'll be okay. Big ideas. So I learned that I needed to be flexible. But I also needed to be persistent. I learned that things are probably not going to go the way I expect them to go. I'm going to need some different methods of doing. I may need to mix some methods, doing interviews, phone interviews, sending out surveys. I may even have to delve into the mathematical side of things. Quiet hope. I'm going to have to maybe do that through this process. So what I'm looking at now is, again, the big idea here is there's maybe no one silver bullet. And again, I learned maybe why somebody would want to do a quantitative research project versus doing something like this, where you have a situation where you really are struggling to get the information that you feel you need in order to accomplish the task at hand. So again, there are positives and negatives to everything. In this case, what I learned was I would be able to do this in a way that maybe wasn't the way I thought it was going to go, but I still did get to where I needed to be. So that's it. As always, let me know if there's anything else I can do. I would love to be on all of your dissertation committees, and quit sending me rude emails. That goes for you right back there. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your class. Thank you.